Alright, some time for another installation of my 2 cents. Alright, today we're going to talk about a subject that's personal to me. It's called Infinite and Infinity. A lot of people probably have no idea what I'm talking about right now. Infinite and Infinity is, there's a character on Invader Zim called Iggins, for those of you that like Invader Zim. And Iggins suggests, the epic glasses on, Iggins is quoted as saying, I am the master of existence and all that which it encompasses. It is from that single line, that one line, that I created my idea of existence and all that encompasses it. Because what is existence and what exactly is it encompassing? What is it that is encompassing it? From that one statement that Iggins made, I created what I call infinite and infinity. Infinite and infinity uses words from string theory, M theory, quantum theory, science fiction, mythologies, comic book characters, video game characters, everything that I've ever heard, every definition, every word I've ever had thrown to me, I have compiled it into a logical and easily digestible format. Infinite and infinity, for most people, automatically is considered, what's the word I'm looking for? String theory, or M theory, for the non-scientists out there. String theory, M theory is the theory of everything, and it addresses the quantum and the cosmological as a uniform playing field, where physics works on the cosmological scale, quantum mechanics works on the quantum scale, the tiny atomic scale. String theory addresses both of them and is the unification theory. I'm not going to go into that. This is about infinite infinity. What I've done is I've taken the use of dimensions from quantum mechanics and I have applied them to string theory. What I have is 11 dimensions, which describe all of existence in that which it encompasses. The first 3 dimensions are geometric volume. They are length, width, and depth. They apply specifically to time, to just space. Just space. Not time space, but just space alone. An object has a point describes 1 dimension, a line describes 2 dimensions, a plane describes, I screwed that all up. A point describes 0 dimensions, a line describes 1 dimension, a plane describes 2 dimensions, and a cube from that plane describes 3 dimensions. We live in my personal definition is that existence is static geometric volume governed by dynamic forces. Our universe is inside of existence. The 4th dimension is time. Time allows physical objects to move around like myself. I couldn't talk to you if there was time. If you think of time like a VCR, just like this YouTube video, you can rewind me, you can fast forward me once it loads, you can pause me, you can replay me, etc. Time for humanity is a straight one-dimensional direction. It's a magnitudinal force. That's why the universe is governed by dynamic forces. One of those dynamic forces is the magnitude force of time. It's wrong to say that human beings cannot travel through time, because human beings do in fact travel through time at the constant steady rate of time. Think of this like watching your TV, watching a movie at its regular play rate. That is the normal play rate of time. If you press fast forward, you speed up the flow of time. We don't experience that. It could be possible, it could not be possible, but from our observation, we don't experience that because time is greater than us. You can pause the tape and time will stop. If you stop time for us, we wouldn't even notice. If there was some cosmological VCR where they could pause existence, they could pause us for millions of years from their perspective and we wouldn't even notice. They can continue to play this tape and it would be as if we never stopped. Because from our limited reality, we can never know. That's why I created Infinite Infinity, to try to explain these phenomena in a very logical, very stable way. The 5th dimension, which is the hardest dimension to explain, is change. Now, I can see everybody on YouTube screaming at their computer saying, that's dumb, change isn't a force of nature. But consider this. Everything changes. Everything. Even God has changed through time and millennium. The force of change drives everything. As an idea or as an observation, change is in fact an actual force of nature. You can ignore it, you can deny it, but you have to acknowledge its self-present characteristics as a dynamic force that governs everything. Even time is governed by the force of change. Time itself has to change forward in its magnitudinal force. Otherwise, nothing would be moving through time. You can walk from point A to point B, but you can't travel from time A to time B without going through all times in between. That's to say that if you're a little kid, you can't say, okay, I don't want to be 7 or 8 or 9, I just want to be 21. You have to go through the logical steps. You can walk from one side of your living room to the next, but you can't walk from one side of your living room at age 10 and then arrive at the other side of your living room at age 30. You just can't do that. You have to logically move through time because time is greater than we are. The best description of time and space and change that I can give is a simple story that I've picked up watching stuff on the History Channel. And it goes basically like this. If you go into a McDonald's, you have to first define the first dimensions. First dimensions are length, width, and depth, geographical locations. You can think of this as the location of a McDonald's, for instance. The address itself describes the McDonald's location in time. So me and you are going to meet at McDonald's. I guess I'm famous now, so you want to meet me in person. So we're going to meet at McDonald's. So you call me up and say, hey, meet me at McDonald's. And you give me the address. So I say, okay, fine, I'll meet you there. So you go to McDonald's and I'm not there. You gave me the address is right. I do know my directions, I know how to get there. So why am I not there? The reason why I'm not there is because we didn't set our fourth dimension, which is time. So we have to set the fourth dimension. That allows us to meet there and be in the same time space. That's where the time space thing comes from. Right now, I'm in my time space. This video could be weeks, days, or months old. But right now, I'm in my time space. I share my time space with my camera guy. You are in your time space at the filming of this video, sharing your time space with whoever's around you. So, and back to the analogy, when you and I meet at the McDonald's, we will share the same time space. We meet at McDonald's, which is the third dimension, is actual address, and then we share the fourth dimension, which is at 3:30 p.m. Now that we're there interacting with each other, how does this apply to the fifth dimension? Well, let's change the scenario again. We decide we want to meet at McDonald's, so we set a time, a dimensional location and time location. Same McDonald's, same address. This time we're going to change the rules just a little. We're going to meet on top of the roof. So we arrive at the McDonald's and we arrive on the rooftop at the same time. But the McDonald's is no longer a McDonald's, it's a Burger King. It's at the same location that the McDonald's was once at. We arrived at a different time as the original McDonald's, but the McDonald's that was there is gone and has been replaced with a Burger King. The McDonald's has changed from a McDonald's to a Burger King. There's a lot of logical things that you can say about that, but recognize that the McDonald's was a McDonald's and it changed through time into a Burger King. That's the fifth dimension. Change is the fifth dimension. When you're born, you grow, you go from a child to a teenager, to a young adult, to an adult, to an old man, and then you die. Life and death is rebirth. This is all change. Your entire life is change. We move through change. Change is the fifth dimension. Okay, so we're at 5 of the 11 dimensions now. The sixth dimension is strict. This is where it's going to get crazy and I'm going to start losing it. The sixth dimension, and they have names, and I hope I can get their names right because I don't like doing edit jobs. The sixth dimension is the parallel universes. No, see, I'm already screwing up. The sixth dimension is relativity. Relativity describes the sixth dimension. What that means is Einstein's relativity is a way of observing and measuring your existence. And with that said, when you think logically about things, you can remove certain elements. For instance, if you're driving down the street in your car at 60 miles an hour and you look across to you and you see another person's car also moving at 60 miles an hour, relative to you, that person is standing still. They're not moving at all. You know consciously that they're moving, but from your perspective, they're stationary. This is what relativity is all about. If the person begins to move at 70 miles an hour, they will accelerate past you. So it looks like they're moving away from you when in reality they have just increased their speed. You, from your perspective, it appears as if you're stationary and they're moving away from you at 10 miles an hour, but they're actually moving at 70 miles an hour relative to your 60 miles an hour. If they drop their speed 50 miles an hour, it looks like you're accelerating away from them at 60 miles an hour, at 10 miles an hour. But in reality, from your perspective, they're decelerating at 50 miles an hour. So that's basically an introduction to relativity. What you have to recognize is that relativity describes the threshold of observation. That is to say, as science is the measurement, is the measuring and is the experimenting and scientific measuring of observable natural forces, you can create a threshold of measuring the universe or your surroundings as relativity. That's to say that if you was to accurately measure something, an event, scientifically, you would have to account for every last condition in our universe, but we can't do that. So we only account for the conditions that we can, which is usually local to that experiment. If you wanted to build a house, you don't worry about the world, you just worry about that specific location that you want to put the foundation on. This is relativity. The sixth dimension is special relativity. The seventh dimension, and this is tricky, the seventh dimension is when you have, let's say this fist is sixth dimension relativity, and this fist is sixth dimension relativity. The seventh dimension is a larger fist encompassing these two fists. And what I mean is that inside of any sixth dimensional relativity is its own measurement. When you measure two local connected relativities against each other, you do so through the seventh dimension. Think of it like this. Your mind as a physical, conscious thing, organic computer, whatever you want to call it, is a sixth dimensional relativity. It's comprised of all of the forces of time, space, change that encompasses it and its computational power. Your mind, as its own sixth dimension, is separated from other minds through the seventh dimension. Because as your mind is the sixth dimension, someone else's mind is the sixth dimension, the reason why you don't know what they're thinking is because your two minds are separated by special relativity, which is the area that surrounds them. So when a classroom full of kids are sitting in the classroom thinking, their thoughts don't interact with each other because their thoughts are separated by a seventh dimensional relative barrier. The same way that objects cannot occupy, mass can't occupy the same space because the mass itself takes up a seventh dimensional space. I'm sorry, a sixth dimensional space relative to itself. Two sixth dimensional masses can't occupy the same sixth dimensional space. They're separated by a sixth dimensional relativity, which itself is described as seventh dimension. I know that's tricky. Watch it a couple times, hopefully you'll get it, but that's how it works. So the seventh dimension separates two sixth dimensions and is in itself the sixth dimension. Now, as if that wasn't complicated and dumb enough, I'm going to go to try to explain what I need to add seventh dimension is actually the universe. Because the universe is all sixth dimensional relativity frames. All of the relativity frames of that are in the sixth dimension describe the entire universe, and the universe itself is one big sixth dimensional relativity frame. But since it describes all of the individual unique sixth dimensional frames relative to itself, it is best described as seventh dimension. Now, that said, we move on to the eighth dimension, which is the multiverse. The multiverse has thousands and hundreds of different theories, but I'm going to give you the definition of the multiverse to myself. The multiverse is the parallel universes of our universe. Our universe has infinite, there's infinite possibilities of our universe. So the multiverse are all of the possible universes that are connected directly to our own. So we're in universe A. Somewhere in universe B, I'm doing the same video, probably better, or not. in universe C, etc., D, all the way to infinity. Those are parallel universes. If you want to understand what parallel universes and parallel worlds are, I recommend you YouTube Sliders. It's an excellent science fiction that explains it. Here's the thing. I described existence as static dimensional coordinates governed by dynamic forces. Well, the universe is dynamic dimensional coordinates governed by dynamic forces. And the universe is inside of the universe, which is the omniverse, which is the 8th dimension. But I need to go in more detail about this, how the 7th dimension works. In our 7th dimensional universe, let's say we have fundamental forces: strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, gravity, magnetism. Those describe our universe as a 7th dimensional relativity frame, separated by the threshold. So our universe and all parallel universes are governed by those forces. You can't go to a parallel universe that doesn't have gravity, because it's not part of our parallel universe. All of our parallel universes have to be relative to our own universe, which means it has to have all of the variables that govern our universe, but has all the infinite possibilities. It only covers possibilities. It doesn't change the laws of physics or the nature of the said universe. So that means that our universe is governed by 4 forces. If you have another universe over here governed by 3 forces, alright, this universe is separate from our universe. This universe has its own infinite possibilities. I can't even go to try to explain other forces. I just know that they're self-evident. So you have 2 separate universes. Both are 7th dimensional. And inside of the 8th dimension, which is existence. Existence is, as I said, dynamic dimensional coordinates governed by, it's static dimensional coordinates governed by dynamic forces. The universe is inside of existence. That's my opinion. Science says the universe is part of everything. Everything that exists in the universe. So, because my theory is that existence encompasses the universe, I bring the universe down just a level, which is why my scale is a little bit higher. So the universe comes down just a little bit, and then existence is above it. Existence encompasses the universe. The universe, existence. Existence encompasses the universe. The universe is moving around inside this static dimensional stuff. So what is existence inside of it? What is it that is encompassing existence? Well, existence, like the universe as I described before, is all the laws of physics and all of the dimensions that can give rise to any dimension, that can give rise to any universe. So if you go back down to the universe, our universe has 4 laws of physics. If this universe has 3 laws of physics, in this existence, any universe inside of this existence has to have one or more of the physics that governs the universe itself. So if the universe has 10 laws of physics, all of the universes inside of this existence can have up to the 10 laws of physics that govern that existence. If this universe has 11 laws of physics, and this existence has 10 laws of physics, then this existence is different from this existence because of one extra law of physics. Let's say this law of physics is magic. We don't have magic in our universe to our understanding yet, so it's easy to understand. In this existence, there's no such thing as magic. In this existence, there's such thing as magic. As a probability in our existence, it's possible to go to a parallel universe that has magic, but it's not parallel to our own, and that is the 8th dimension. The 8th dimension is the actual multiverse, which separates all of the universes. The omniverse is the existence itself. This isn't working. I'm gonna have to redo this because I'm losing my own definition.